Every week, we put together a list of 5 new single-issue comic books that we're super excited about and think that you guys will love, either because of entertainment value or potential monetary value for your comic book collection. I'm Brandon, and it's time for the new Comic Book Day Top 5. Okay, so before we get into things, if you haven't already done so, I'd greatly appreciate it if you'd consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you enjoy our content, be sure to hit the bell. And if you could, leave a thumbs up and a comment on this video. We're giving away some really cool comic book prize packs, but we'll get into that a bit later. So without further ado, here is about 20 to 30 bucks worth of comic book goodness that you can indulge in this new Comic Book Day. Alright, so coming in at number 5, we have Absolute Carnage Miles Morales number 2 from Marvel Comics. You know, I absolutely love this mini-series within the Absolute Carnage event. I think it's actually one of my favorite. At first, I was kind of pulling for that Deadpool story arc, but I think that this has become my favorite just from the perspective in the story that you get. The struggle in Miles, and I always love getting a villain's insight, especially one that I don't really care about. Adding a little more dimension to Cletus Cassidy is probably a good thing, especially with this event. Needless to say, Miles is doing everything in his power to fight against the symbiote. He's been sent on a mission against his will, and we may see a Spider-Man v Spider-Man showdown with Peter and him at some point in this comic. I love that Clayton Crane cover, by the way. Also, look at this thing. It's absolutely gorgeous. If this book isn't on your radar, a lot of the Absolute Carnage books have been really surprising me. At first, I was just going to read the main story, but you know what? Marvel's getting a lot more of my money than I originally thought with this one. So at number 5, it's Absolute Carnage Miles Morales number 2 from Marvel Comics. Okay, so at number 4, it's Action Comics number 1015. You know, I'm kind of at the point where I really don't care about this Year of the Villain banner thing at the top anymore. But what I am kind of interested in is putting Naomi on the page with the Dark Knight and the Man of Steel. I always love when both Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent get to play a mentor role. It's always some of my favorite reads. I looked up to both these cats as a kid. These fictional characters very much shaped who I became as a man. Maybe that's why I sit on the internet talking about comics in my free time. Who knows? But I'm very interested to see where the story takes us. Maybe it'll reveal a little bit more about Naomi. I'm just surprisingly excited for this comic. So at number 4, it's Action Comics number 1015 from DC Comics. Alright, so coming in at number 3, it's Criminal number 8 from Image Comics. I've said time and time again that the Criminal series is probably the best bang for your buck that you're going to get in both indie comics and comics in general right now. There is so much material in these books. It's insane to me that this book is a $3.99 cover price when you compare it to what's coming out in terms of quality and content with some of the stuff that you see from the big two that maybe is sitting at a $4.99 or $5.99 or $7.99 or $9.99 cover price. I love the pin-up-y style, almost classic noir novel covers that you get with this series, and everything that Brubaker and Phillips works on is worth picking up and giving a read. So at number 3, it's Criminal number 8 from Image Comics. Alright, so coming in at number 2, it's another Absolute Carnage tie-in. It's Amazing Spider-Man number 30. Now from the solicitations, it seemed like this book is picking up where the main story left off. I don't know if that's the case, but we're going to have to see. I haven't had a chance to read the preview for this week, and I'm actually a few issues behind on Amazing Spider-Man right now, so I'm hoping, because I'm totally going to read this being an Absolute Carnage tie-in, that it doesn't ruin anything for me in the few issues that I have to catch up with in the main Amazing Spider-Man storyline, but oh well, it's worth it, and I feel like I really can't say much more than that without some kind of spoilers. So, number 2 this week, it's Amazing Spider-Man number 30 from Marvel Comics. Alright, so what's going to be at number 1 this week? Well, I got to catch up on Batman Curse of the White Knight, so I can't speak on that one. How you guys liking that series so far? We got a ton of dollar books coming out this week, a ton of the Hulk books. We've got a Crisis on Infinite Earths reprint. We've got Shazam number 7, and I know that's been canceled, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But none of those are going to be our number 1, because our number 1 this week, as we've said, these books are going to be here until this event wraps up. It's Powers of 10 number 5 from Marvel Comics. You know, I got a little giddy when I was reading the solicitation for this issue. When they talk about Mr. Sinister, I was like, of course he does. And I'm really curious what's going on in the future. I feel like we've lost that story for a little bit. I want to get back to it. This series has not let anybody down, I don't think. And as it comes to an end and we get into the new X-Men line of books, I gotta say, the future is looking bright for the X-Men, so we'll see what happens. But for now, it's Powers of 10, number 5 from Marvel Comics in our number 1 spot this week. Some of the best storytelling that's ever gone on in comics is happening right before our eyes, and so on weeks like this, where there's just too many to put in our top 5 list, we're going to do a supplementary honorable mentions list over at our Instagram at Exploding Earths. So if you go over there right now, you're going to find 5 more picks of honorable mentions of what you might want to pick up on New Comic Book Day, and Paula's bringing that home this week. So if you want to hear more of our picks, head over there. Let us know if you find something that you like on our list, and leave us your own reading suggestions in the comments below. So that's it for this week. We'll see you again next week with another top 5 list, but until then, have a happy New Comic Book Day.